Hey guys, Gillette Silver Blue, brand new blade today. Kind of a test blade. I used the previous one about 11 times. I do have another GSB that I don't know is a 40 count or something like that, but I just felt like having I like to have a low count one just for kind of more objective testing, because sometimes if the blade's too high in usage, you don't know whether it's just not a fit for a certain razor or whatever. And most people usually shave lower than 10 counts anyway. This is the new improved from Gillette. It's a vintage US make, and it's an old guy, B5 knot in a vintage restored aluminum Rubberset 400 handle, and I really like it. Finally got that project taken care of, and I've got my number 63 Provence quad milled vegan soap from France. Inexpensive, smells great, sometimes a little hard to load, but the performance isn't quite as good as some of the other options out there. But it's reasonable, it's slick, it's doable. It's a great soap if you're on a budget, especially with the scent. I mean, holy cow, it's awesome. All right, so let's get this blade in the razor. Now with GSB, you do have the interior wax paper that you have to mess with. And GSB does have those pesky wax or whatever it is dots. So you have to be careful and pull the blade off properly. That's what that guy looks like. And this is a normal 3-piece razor configuration. We have the handle, and kind of the gold tone or brass tone is what we have here. Now you can tell it's not a new, because the new will have a ridge, a groove going down right in the middle of the top of the base plate there. And that rail, there will be a rail here. There's no pins on a new. They're both open comb, but the new improved has the pins. It also has a flat bottom. There is something called a flat bottom new, or rather a new deluxe, which has a similar flat bottom, but it has that center groove that I mentioned earlier, and the rail that's on the underside of the top cap, so it's easy to tell those apart. All right, now I get my face wet. Not quite 24 hours of growth. I did shave this morning, so 16 hours growth, something like that. Today I'm going to do just a normal bowl lather with the PDP. I've been doing some experimenting with it. Marco method with a soft brush. Matter of fact, I tried that with this very brush, and I think the wetness and the softness of the bristles combined to make it difficult to load up enough soap, even though I went at it for quite some time. And so today I'm going to do my normal method, which is to shake most of the water out with this same brush. And let's see if we can tell a difference. I'm going to pour off my Bloom water. I do have hard water, and it is fairly cool. So my usual practice is to shake out most of the water. There we go. And let's just do a 60-second load. We'll start at 36. Addition, when you're adding to 60 to something, it's a time factor, is easy. We don't have to start at a round number. The B5 does have really soft tips, It does have a reasonable amount of backbone though, and so hopefully that'll keep those tips focused at the soap and have it pick up enough, and I'm sure it will. 30 more seconds to go. I have taken a weight measurement when I started this little kind of adventure working with PDP, and I'm going to try to do 15 uses of it, and then we'll measure the weight difference. 5 more seconds. And there we go. That is a 1 minute load, and who knows if that's going to be way overkill, just enough. Hopefully it's not inadequate. Hopefully I don't need to keep loading more. Okay, so don't have any water or anything like that added into the bowl yet. We'll do that in a minute. Kind of get everything started first. Yeah, I love the scent. Also tried some boar brushes, face lathering, and different types of configurations, and the smaller soft boar brushes that weren't all scritchy and stuff, man, they required quite a good bit of load time. Two teaspoons now in the lather. It has always given me a slick shaving experience, and so in a sense it's always doing its job. And if you can find this thing, and I have seen it before for about 10 bucks on Amazon or eBay or something, then this represents a really good buy, I believe, because you should be able to get a lot of uses out of it, maybe even longer than a year. For 10 bucks, I mean, that's a terrific, that's, you know, $1 a month, about that. And now Williams will go 2 months. Puck of Williams will go 2 months if I can find those for about $1.20 at my local grocery stores. But this scent I like a whole lot better than Williams. Williams beats this in terms of performance though. Slickness on Williams is amazing. Williams, however, it takes a little bit longer to get to a powerful creamy lather. Most people don't have the patience to get there. You just kind of have to keep stirring at it. Load enough product and keep stirring, and you'll get there. This one gets there. Yeah, see, we've got plenty of lather to do the job. So while my face lathering exploits and the smaller boar brushes and and the Marco, I guess maybe this, perhaps this lather, this soap just doesn't like Marco very much. The coming at it with a really wet brush, that sort of thing, unless maybe you have a brush that's got scratchy or stiff tips, that'll really dig into the soap and help you out, help you by gathering up the amount of soap that you need. Once you've used a lather for long enough, you can often gauge it by looks, and you don't even need to, you know, pick some up and feel it and that sort of thing, you know. I think I'll go ahead and shave with this. We've just got almost 3 teaspoons of water in it. I love this bowl. This is the Roger Quintero lather bowl, available on Thingiverse. There's a link in my description. It's a 3D printable bowl in case you have access to a 3D printer. Plenty of lather to do the job, it looks like. This is a little drier than I usually like it. You can see this doesn't look too bad, but look over here. Look at all these waves and contours and things like that. That is not usually how dry mine are allowed to be by the time I use them. But, you know, sometimes soaps are different. They need to be treated differently. Just a simple bowl lather tonight without too much quandary or experimentation or anything like that. This brush is so dense, sometimes you need to dip back in and kind of gather up more lather. Also, the first pass with me is one where I often have oil on my skin because I just have oily skin. If I didn't do a pre-wash or a shower beforehand, then my first pass of lather can sometimes be not as profitable because it's having to dispel those oils. Excuse me. The blade here didn't really need any alignment checking. It had those posts and various other things that really help it out. So this is a brand new blade. There is some blade feel here, and I looked at my past notes for this razor, and it did say that this head had shaved me previously with a focus more on a close cutting shave rather than comfort. And that's just fine. Since this is the first shave of the new blade, it's possible it'll be a little rougher than it will be after we kind of work it down a little bit. People who shave with a blade once and then throw it away, I mean, you know, do what you want, make yourself happy, but you're missing some good shaves. Many blades will smooth out on use 3 or 4. It's much nicer shave than use number 1. All right, not a lot of residual slickness there. Not a luxurious rinse at all. That's okay. Sometimes that happens because of my oily complexion. And yeah, this is a nice brush. After the first pass, it has started to be a little easier to display. Lather looks pretty good. Very nice. Cross grain now on my face. This little guy has a crack in the handle, and so the handle will actually spin. See, there's the crack. It's fairly common with a lot of these vintage Gillettes. So if you, and many of them are stable cracks, and so as long as you don't abuse the razor, it can stay that way for quite some time. So I'm not hesitant to buy a vintage razor even if it has a crack on it, especially if the person is kind of trusted and they say it's a stable crack, you know. All right, well, that was a very nice, very comfortable pass right there. The first one was the one that was a little taken off most of the stubble. And now we're just dealing with tiny bits and nice comfort. All right. Well, 60 seconds was plenty, as it turns out, with this brush. And here's the thing. I think I may have tried to load for 3 minutes with this brush having a lot of water in it. So it's clear that that water was blocking the brush from being able to pick up the soap. Same puck loading time, soaking time, just kind of soaked the puck while I was putting my gear together. Now I am getting a little bit of blade feel, like I mentioned, and I do have one spot on my neck that feels a little tender. I could have had some poor technique or something like that, and so this blade inside of this razor could possibly, give you a little nick if you lapsed in concentration. Forgot your technique for a minute, I sometimes have a little paranoia about the crack. And so the good thing about this razor is that the head just comes right off, and so I can use any other handle, like from Maggard's or online. It's the same one that the Mercurs and the Parkers use. Edwin Jagger, all those. So there's a good many compatible handles out there. Some neat titanium ones available on eBay. So that's the third pass, and it looks good. I'm happy with that. Shut her on down. This scent is warm and spicy, and so in name only at least, Tiki Bar Soaps has Spice Islands. This does have a few little skin goodies in it, but it is alcohol based, so sometimes there's going to be some sting. And this does have some spice, but mostly I get kind of fruit from it. So I think it's a nice smooth scent to go to sleep to, instead of something powerful and annoying that might be better for a morning shaver. All right, I'm liking this so far. It is a warm, fruity. I think it matches fairly well. It's not a harsh comparison between the warm, spicy of the PDP 63 and the Spice Islands. All right, I'm going to clean my gear. The amount of water I used continued to be the 2 3/4 teaspoons, and the load time was 60 seconds with this brush, and it looks like I've probably got another 3 passes available if I wanted. So 6 passes of lather, and the consistency I think probably might be about perfect for this soap. A little drier than I like to have it, but probably perfect for this soap, since it just doesn't like to be thinned out quite so much as my other tallow soaps, for instance. Good shave today. Well, I forgot that Tiki Bar, like the other Groomatorium products like Stubble Buster and the biggest one, Chiseled Face, has alcohol in it, and, well, I meant to say menthol, and that's a little much for me. It is starting to calm down now. As I was putting away my gear, I first got that nice scent, and then the menthol started kicking in. I was like, dang it, this isn't all that relaxing. Oh well, it'll calm down in just a little while. It's just my skin seems to react a little bit more to it than a lot of guys. On the other hand, if it was morning, I probably wouldn't mind trying to wake yourself up, that sort of thing. Well, I've got everything put away, and that was a good shave. This, again, this new standard, Gillette new standard, new improved, did remind me that it does focus a little bit more on the close cutting side rather than the comfort side. You definitely feel an edge. You could possibly get a little bit of razor burn if you overshave certain areas or forget that certain hills, will stick out. I do have just a little bit of irritation somewhere around here, but it feels like it'll kind of go away in just a few minutes. And it's more razor burn type irritation instead of a nick or anything like that. But it's all good. It's good to revisit this razor and blade. It's one that I do enjoy. The B5 did great. The soap did well. And again, this soap seems to me to be focused at somebody on a budget that just needs a good performing soap. And for cheap, that'll last a very long time, and that's this soap. It won't be as luxurious as some of the more expensive soaps, the American Cropes, Stirling, that sort of thing, as well as, of course, Barrister and Mann and Noble Otter and Declaration Grooming and all those guys. It's just not going to be able to compete with those in terms of the type of slickness it offers, but it is a good, shaveable, workable, practical slickness. And so I'm glad I'm testing it out. I do plan to continue to recommend it, and I think I will also include a little bit of a caveat about what I just said. All right, I think we are good. Good day. Continue on with the new job this week. It's going well. Thank you for those who have commented well wishes and good hopes. I appreciate that very much. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and I hope there's been something here in this video that has helped you out. You take care and have a good night.